Baby, you know what time it is. It's Studio Johnny Q time. That means it is time to drop your nerd drawers, baby. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm sure it's sexy.
I'm sure it's sexy too. All right.
Baby.
Thanks, Sue. Hail and well met, fellow time travelers. I'm Johnny Q of Studio Johnny Q. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we do Addition Through Distraction, where Randy joins me in the studio and we chat while I work. Randy is looking to join remotely, so hey, Tater, welcome. Just waiting for Randy to join us on Discord, so let me make sure I've got that all set up, and we can go to our table and get started. How you doing today, brother? Another day in quarantine. No, you can't spell quarantine without Q. I'm doing all right, brother. I'm doing all right. I was having a rough week last week, and this week's definitely been better. So, alrighty, let's take a look here at our fine handiwork. Move Bob Ross Deadpool over here. Alrighty. All right. All right. So today we are hoping to focus on finishing up these guys' bases and their eyeballs. So I'm pretty pleased with where we were at. Let me take this. First, let's see if we can get off on any of this excess flocking. Give it a, hey, it sounds like we may have Randy joining us. Take a look over at the, hey brother, can you hear me okay? Awesome. There. Cranked up the volume on my headset a little bit. We got Tater in chat, Twitch chat. And we should be streaming to both YouTube and Twitch this morning. And I believe that I updated the titles, so hopefully we're good there. He says he can't hear you, so let me work on that. Is
that better?
Make sure that your desktop audio is coming. Can you give me a little something, Randy? Yeah, let me. There you go. So how you doing today, brother?
Okay. Tired.
Yeah.
But
Dragon. Were you able to get any sleep, or you just didn't get a lot?
Didn't get a lot.
Didn't get a lot. Yeah, that's
where you're like struggling to get to sleep. Oh no,
please. I hate that. That's what I had. That's what I had on Sunday night. All right. Just taking some of this glued flocking off of these miniatures. They're looking pretty good. I'm happy. Can hear Randy now, but he's still very quiet. Okay, let me. I can assist by it.
That's what I sound like, Tater. I'm a very quiet person.
All right, Randy.
At work, they used to threaten to make me use a megaphone.
All right. Well, I have them at. Usually on the desktop audio, we have to crank it down. Oh, you know what? I bet you I know what the problem is. My problem, my overall volume is also. No, that's right. Okay, good. So we'll leave it there. We will leave it there.
What have you done?
I don't know. Boom! All righty. All right, so. Taking some of this stuff off, and so Randy, I will hop right into our. Well, actually, let me just hop to our titular moment. I was listening to a little Alan Watts this morning, and he used a turn of phrase. He was talking about our inability to be adaptable in life. And how it's a common problem for humans is that we keep trying to force things into structures that isn't organic, and schedules and things like that. And he said that he said he used the phrase like if you and a partner had plans, but the time really wasn't crucial, but you were going to do it at a certain time, but you didn't, you changed the plans, and somebody throws a fuss about it, he said that's because they are using punctuality as a fetish. And I thought that was a very interesting turn of phrase, was punctuality as a fetish. Using punctuality as a fetish.
Huh. So did fetish have the same connotation back then? Because that's...
It's, you bring up a good point. Fetish is, we think of fetish as like, ooh, well, I got a foot fetish, which we've talked about before. I don't think is really a fetish. I think it's a partialism. I think fetish, in a psychological term, is being sexually attracted to something that is that has nothing to do with sexuality. But whereas partialism is obsessing about a certain part of the body. But there are other fetishes, right? Like almost like a voodoo doll, I think is kind of like a fetish. Like religious fetishes are also, I think, different.
Yeah, there's different.
So Tater is saying that punctuality is a fetish for him. And I did also, he mentioned, I don't know if you saw this, Randy, that and we can come back to your point on this. I just want to get you caught up on the chat. If you're not, or you're here, you can read the chat. Sorry.
It only shows what shows up after I've entered.
Oh, you're not looking at the Twitch chat. I see you as you're in the Twitch.
Yeah.
It doesn't show you
what he just said about Patrick Stewart reading.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Something. Oh, yeah.
That was it.
I was getting on to that. I was looking for an emoticon that I actually liked.
Yeah, Carrie, she turned me on to that about the Patrick Stewart. I haven't listened to it. Also, as we'll another TNG Instagram post. Normally on Marina Sirtis's, Troy's birthday, the crew gets together, and they can't this year. So LeVar Burton set it up so that they could all do it remotely on the webcam. And Will Wheaton had an amazing post, and he does generally have amazing posts. He's a social media role model, in my opinion. And he talked about how much that those people were his real family, because I guess he had a rough upbringing, and he talked about how those people in the past provided family services that he didn't realize, and they are continuing to do so now. And I thought that was just really, really, really touching. And Patrick Stewart is awesome as well. Oh, really? He's active on Reddit. I didn't know that. He's active, it seems like, everywhere. What kind of stuff does Will post on the Reddit? One of the things I appreciate about Will is his openness about mental health issues, his own in particular, and I find that awesome and helpful. Okay, heavily on D&D. Okay, that's cool. There's Acquisitions Incorporated. They do live streaming of D&D session. That's an ongoing session whenever they do PAX conventions, which are Penny Arcade conventions, and that's what it stands for, PAX. And Will Wheaton was in the very early ones of those. And what's interesting is that the guy who hosted those, Chris, I can't remember what his last name is now, but they've changed it here just recently. But he's the guy that's really, like, he basically like wrote the monster manual, the 5e monster manual. So, but it's a very fun. They only tend to put out about 4 of them a year because that's when they have the convention. But They are fun to watch. And if you haven't checked it out, Tater, look up Patrick Stewart talking to Whoopi Goldberg about his new show on The View. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's really endearing. I don't normally encourage people to watch The View, but in this case, I will.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor and start it just where they start talking, and you can end it right after. But one of the things is that she says, I won't hashtag spoil, but she just talks about how other people on the show say Whoopi says that was like one of her favorite times, and that how important those people were, and it was just really endearing. You can see in that clip how much Patrick Stewart and Next Generation meant to her, and I find it just lovely because I love Guinan on Next Generation. She was an amazing addition. And also, she makes the point that Guinan was probably the last recurring character actually created by Gene Roddenberry. All right. So I'm brushing off some of this. And Randy, we kind of interrupted you when we were talking about punctuality as a fetish. So if you had something, I wanted to give you the opportunity. No. Okay.
If I was going
to. All right. Let's see here. I need a brush that's a little bit more abrasive. Ah, you stupid miniature. Yeah, that'll work. You're worthless, just like your father. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's true. And speaking of Q, if you wish to join the Q Continuum, please follow and turn on notifications so you'll know when we're doing our doings. All right. And I will say that I'm happy with the flocking so far. It's kind of hard to tell until the glue dries how much actually stays on, how much comes off. I'm gonna see here. But we did for our heroes, they were a little bit more grass based, and then the villainy was a little bit more rock based. And we'll take a closer look here once. I just wanted to try to get some of this loose gravel off so that I'm not cleaning up gravel till the end of time. Let's see here. Let's do this. Let's just knock everything over, why don't we? You know what, Randy? Actually, I could probably... Well, no, I won't do that. Let me see here. I hope that's not my headphones dying, but it might be. Let me think about this. All right, let's switch our just you. Yeah, I've been watching Next Generation again. I'm in the middle of the third season right now, which is when I feel like it starts to kind of really get its legs. And I'm enjoying it quite a bit. One of the things I find interesting about watching Next Generation now, the first time that that I watched all of those, and then the second time or whatever, all the reruns, I never held a supervisory or management position. And then having done so for more than a couple years, then examining it, I can't help but examine Picard's management structure and am shocked at how often I disagree with it. Randy, are you still here with us, or did I lose all audio?
I'm here. Just tired and silent.
It looks like I
I'm
lost
absorbing.
audio. So Randy, I'm sure you've been talking this whole time. I'm just talking over top of you. And Tater, thanks for that follow. Command. Appreciate that. That's me. Sorry, Randy. I didn't... Which one died? Oh, I think the transmitter died. Okay. That's better than the other option. Uno momento as I try to get the Bluetooth headset beaming technology back online. Gotta call into the Jeffries tube. Get the access panel. What is that? I'm trying to tell. All right. Give me a second as the headsets are trying to sync up here. Should be it. All right, Randy, can you give me some of that sweet, sweet tones that come out of your mouth hole?
Hello.
Yeah, they are. All right. You'll have a little fuzz because I get noise while I'm using that thing and charging it at the same time, but that's okay. It just sounds like you're getting sucked into the Matrix.
Got a little fuzz. It's my my quarantine beard.
Your quarantine merkin? wasn't when we looked up merkin, and for those who are not in the know, a merkin is a pubic wig. Merkin rhymes with gherkin. And I think that one of the reasons that they came into fashion was because of, like, if people had to shave off their pubic patch because of, like, lice and stuff.
It says it was originally worn by sex
By sexy people?
workers.
Sex workers.
Probably.
And that was it because of crabs?
I think yes.
Or just because, like, it was just to mix it up, like, somebody would have, like, a rainbow clown wig down there or something. Nothing on that one. Do they make rainbow clown merkins, Randy? Helps catch all that carnival spunk.
About carnival spunk.
Yes. That's why I love you. Carnival spunk is not a term that we came up with. It's just a term that we love because Otis Spunkmeyer, who makes cookies, they make a cookie called Carnival Spunk, and those jokes just write themselves. What did I walk into? So we're talking about merkins, which are pubic wigs, and I was
to combat pubic lice, also to cover up signs such as
what was oh okay yeah so the cover up like scars or something.
festering.
Festering wounds. Ooh, help sop up the pus. Ugh. I do
Next
feel
topic.
that is. I am sorry. Hashtag real sorry on that one. When did those come into fashion, Randy? Does it say?
Tater.
That's funny.
What did you say? When did they come into fashion?
Yeah.
This is according to Oxford for the Body, the origins of the pubic wig of 1450. According to the publication, hygiene combat would then don a merkin.
Merkin. It's just the best.
So that says that's talking about women in general, saying that sex workers would also cover up.
Mm.
They use it in films now to help hide things. Really comic.
I'm getting it's hard for me to hear you because of the static that I'm getting. It gives me about a second of static on the start and the end of your sentences. So when you only say something that's 2 seconds long, I'm not getting a lot of it. Or when you punctuate your speech, then it's chopping everything.
My plosive copy.
Yes, you're popping your piece profusely.
Which doesn't make any sense. In that type of. Okay.
So when you're talking, just try to talk like, with all your words chained together instead of leaving spaces in between them. Please use all your words, Randy. Use your words. Come on, Randy. Use your words.
You're setting me down. Like my throat's closing up. I'm saying I'm going silent.
Tater wants you to talk like Yoda. That's funny. And let me just take a moment to say how much I appreciate the both of you for being here right now. Thank you very much. Thanks for adding a little laughter to the day. Good stuff. All right, so we've got these guys. I knocked all the stuffing out of their English muffin, and we'll take a little eyeball here at the hopefully the.
So this is talking about contemporary uses, which is what I was, which is what I had started to say, and you said I was cutting out. Is that it's used in Hollywood now for filmmaking?
Okay.
For various reasons.
Yep.
To just, give some. If there's a love scene, then they'll use it for protection to avoid contact, sensitive areas, or just to block it from view. For ratings or whatever,
or
comedic.
if it's a time period piece and it's the 70s, I mean, you got to have it look like Chewbacca's in a leg lock down there.
Sense for whatever. But also, it says that Lucy Lawless was fitted for Merkin in the 2010 TV series Spartacus: Blood and Sand, but didn't.
I bet you.
I don't need that. That was a good show, by the way. I've told you should watch that before.
The Spartacus one?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can feel here for what we have going on with our
Noise.
Rockiness and getting some shadows. I gotta improve my lighting scenario. Maybe that might help a little bit. Oh. And I am having some issues. I can't get it up, Randy.
Oh.
The light here. I'm struggling with this light here. It's like so. Let's see. What would tighten this? Erg. Well, no. This does not want to play nice. I just don't think it's designed to do what I'm trying to get it to do. I said just what I wanted to say. All right. Let's see here. So now that we've shown you what those look like, the one thing I wanted to look at was we got this guy, and I don't think his base is going to require anything extra. He's just looking pretty groovy as is. But we also have this other big boy over here. Hey, big boy. So I need to figure out, I think, this a little bit more. What would we want to do for this base? And it might just need dry brushing, to be honest. So let's think about that. Let me get a couple colors here that we can... Actually, if I dry brush it and then put a wash on it, that might just take care of it. All right, and as mentioned before, we have about 20 shades of brown, so this will not be a problem for us. Desert yellow, leather brown, dark sand, desert yellow, earth, and these. Use these three. Make a little sign, a little something for everybody. Hey, we appreciate everybody that's hopping in the stream today. So we've had some visits from Lurks and Commander Root and Bloodluster. We appreciate that. Giving us your time and your attention. Feel free to say hi in chat. All right. So if we take a look at this here, yeah. And let me see what kind of brush we'll want to use for this. Take a look at our dry brushes over here. Alrighty. I'm looking for some bristles that are... These are some of my dry brushes. You can tell because they're flared at the ends because it's hard. It's a hard life being a dry brush. And I don't want too much over painting Although mostly it looks like that'll get on metal and hoof if I do. So I'm looking for a brush that's not too big. I'm looking for bristles that aren't too long, because I find that they're too long. It just kind of defeats the purpose of dry brushing because you're not getting enough pressure because they're just bending. So let's give ourselves, we already got a lot of dark tone on here, so we'll try the medium tone here first and just see what that does. And let's mix our paint by using our we use the Witch King of Agmar to over here. We can probably kill this light. You still with us, Randy?
Yep.
All right, so we gotta think of a way to anger the Witch King of Angmar.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, so because that's how it shakes up the paint. So let me see here. See, last time I told him that I asked him if his mama slept with hobbits because he sure does have some hairy toes, and that doesn't bother him at this point. So we need something that's a little bit more saucy, I think. It's a good thing you don't have no face, because if you did, god damn, you'd be ugly, son. It'll work. Now he's summoning all of his anger into the bottle, and then he recalls the anger management lessons that he took in Rivendell. Breathing, and there we go. Now it's done. Pull back over here. All right, and have you been? What have you been into since the last time that we talked, Randy? Anything fun over the weekend? Any good movies, or you been playing Spider-Man more?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I played a bit more Spider-Man, trying to get the highest level on the challenge, on all the challenges.
Which one are you? Is there one that you're currently on, or are you kind of rotating between them?
I do one until it pisses me off too much trying to get the highest level, and I move to
That sounds about right.
Just to give it a break, and to hope that like something clicks in place in the the in between times there. Give it a break, let it work itself out in my head, and come back to it.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I did. I think that it seemed like I had about 6 of them there towards the end that I was rotating between, that was just kept trying to get. And like I said, I remember one of them was a stealth mission where there's 2 guys in front of the door. That was one that I really struggled with. And there was the flying one where at the very end of it is where it's like a construction by a train yard is where the drone finally stops. And that was one that I had the hardest time getting the third one on. And there was another one of those camera drone ones that I had a really hard time with, but I can't remember.
I'm still getting, like, I'm not very, I'm not good at finessing the controls.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, to get that max level, you're really good at finessing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still in the stage where I'll be trying to do that, and I'll be going well, and then all of a sudden, it'll just go I do a grab on the wall instead of swinging around it, and it doesn't want to get off the wall, so it just starts swinging. So it's like,
yes. Yeah, it's funny.
All right.
Yeah, it's like when things are going well, it's awesome, right? But man, you get
Yeah.
like more than 2 degrees off of where you're supposed to be, and you hit the wall, and yeah,
Yeah.
you're just trying to put yourself back, and now you're facing the other direction. Now you can't see the
Yeah.
drone, and it's like now should I just take a shortcut because I know where the drone's going to be? So should I just go where I know he's going to be, or do I try to get all of these? And yeah, there
Yeah.
is because
Like,
you don't have to get every single one of them, but I know
yeah.
you, and it must drive you nuts to let one of them go by.
Well, at this point, I'm like, I'm happy if I just get the point. Like, if I
Yeah.
just get the high mark, that's all I need. But some of it, it's so far out. Like, there must be some trick to it that I'm not comprehending, that I'm just not getting. And I found that with some of the fighting. It was like, there's no way. Like, I've done everything I can. I've got all the, the suit mods and that I can do, the ability mods, whatever. Uh, and I'm so far away from the score that they want me to have on that. I don't know what they did. And then
Combos.
all of a sudden, I did a
Combos.
slightly different
Combos will help
like,
you with
I,
points.
I blew it out of the water. Yeah. Um, that was a big thing for part of it, was combo.
I
You
think
definitely
yeah, because I think that I was having a problem with that too, and it was just like, man, I got to get a combo string.
Yeah,
Oh,
I had
yeah.
that, and making sure that your health is full at the end of it.
What's your favorite power up in Spider-Man?
It depends on what I'm doing. So, like for the drone one, I've been using the keeps you up in the air, the gravity kind of.
Oh, really?
Uh,
I've never used that one. I don't
but
think.
I end up forgetting using it because I'm trying to be
Oh
safe.
yeah, yeah. I like
Trying to dial in so much to getting the accuracy right and stuff that I forget that I have it.
I like the
Or
one.
you actually hit it at the wrong time. Like, God damn it.
Yeah, and then when you need it, you can't power up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is working. This is working nice.
I did not. I was trying to use all the ones that detected, make it harder for them to detect you for the stealth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's if you can do that one, like when you're doing the stealth missions, there's I think 2 or 3 that you can power ups that are helpful, right? One of them is it takes longer for them to detect you. One of them is that they even if they can't if they detect you, they can't call out for help. So that I think won't trigger the end. Because like if they detect you and they call for help, I think if you do that one, it gives you a couple extra seconds. So like somebody detects you, you can turn that one on, and it helps them from them being able to call out for help, which is what I think ends the stealth mission. And then there was another one.
That's the fail. Fail.
What's that?
That's the fail to end. You said just end it, but
right.
So the fail for it is.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. Yep. But I really like the power up that shocks, that shocks everybody, the little spider buddy or whatever.
Yeah, there's a couple.
And you get that one pretty early on, and I find that one's really helpful.
There's one that if they hit, they get shocked.
Oh yeah, I like that one too.
Air attacks unleash it by using ground attack. And then
yes,
there's a candidate, a shock web.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna.
The bomb. I'm having issues with the bomb one. Figured that out. See how I can be going much faster. The score in between, the needed score in between the second tier and the third tier.
Yeah. There's one of those.
It's like tricks and stuff, but it's like I don't know if that's going to be able to allow me to do it within the time. I don't think the air combos, the air tricks, really add.
Yeah, I agree.
Your time.
I don't think so either.
They take a lot of time to do it. Depends on how you're moving.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I don't think that I successfully completed any of those by implementing the technique of I need to throw more tricks in my routine.
Yeah, I don't know how otherwise to do it though.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, because with the bombs, I mean, you get, I guess it's what, time of completion and how well you wrap up them once you throw them, right? Because isn't that the thing? Like you throw them and then you got to shoot them with
That's
your
a fact.
webs.
Yeah, webbing is a fact.
Yeah, and then, yeah, because there's the one, let's see, I remember like there's bombs on top of the building and like you're trying to figure out like which direction to throw them because it's like, well, if you throw it in that direction, then I'm facing the wrong direction when I start, and that's killing in a couple seconds. And also, to that with I don't know if it was that one or not. I know there's one where the one where you're on the tops of the buildings. That one, where
Oh yeah.
There was a couple times that how you can do your force dive.
Do your what dive?
The force dive, like if you're in the air to make yourself dive faster. I found that I had to do that in some situations because I just couldn't get to the end quick enough. So that whenever I like one of them, like at one point you were on top of a couple, I think, really tall buildings. I think it's like two buildings that are next to each other, like apartment buildings or something. And you have to like jump off and go like down. And so, I think in that one I had to implement because I just couldn't get to the end in time. It's like, I don't even know how can I get here any quicker? And it's like, yeah, I remember being at this part of the game where it's just like, what can I do? Okay, this isn't working. I got to try something different. What could I even try?
Yeah, during some of the drone, definitely have force dive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Get the things fast enough.
And I hated it too. Like there would be things, and he would land and not jump, and it was just like, don't land. Why are you sitting there? You were supposed to.
That was one of the most infuriating things. Like things are going well, you're trying so hard to to beat the time and everything, and things are going well, but then he just goes ape shit. It's like you must have been a centimeter off or something on aiming your what is the name for the thing on your screen that lines stuff up, like crosshair.
Yeah. Okay.
Reticle.
Aiming reticle.
So like your reticle was a little off or something. So, yeah, it just jumped to the wrong spot and just sat there.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't correct it. It's like, no, it's right behind you. Why didn't you grab it?
Well, yeah, you're hitting the controls and he's not doing anything.
All over the place. And it's like, ah.
Yeah, and that one that I'm talking about where it puts you like by the train yard where they're doing construction, and it's like there's a perch that's right there, and it's like 5 seconds before the end of the match, and I always kept hitting that perch. And it was just like, I don't want to sit here. And so you just hear those final seconds go bleep, 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 and it's like, oh, I should have had that one. Yeah, and there was one too where like one of the camera drones ones where it kept going like down through alleys and stuff, and I had the hardest time with that one because he kept having to turn corners and things and dump down between buildings. I found that one really challenging. What a great game. Such a good game on all points.
It is.
It's like the open worldness is good, the interface is good, the controls are good, the graphics are good, the story's good. I love, the menus are good. Just all around, just a super duper solid game. Super duper solid. I just started playing. Go ahead.
The challenge and stuff are a lot easier if you hold the controller the way it's probably meant to be held. Like, I'll
say probably, yeah.
No, but like,
you're using your feet?
You've got the left and right one and the left and right two trigger button. And ideally, you would be holding them all at the same time. Faster to switch if you already had your but it's not comfortable for me to hold the controller that way. So I typically just my middle fingers are underneath or whatever, and I just use my finger to switch with rather than having both sets of.
Hold on a second right there. I got to brush my mouth. So check out this bass.
It's a lovely twisted in trail he's got there.
Thanks.
The bass is Now, where did those bases come from?
That base just came from the local nerd shop, Guard Tower.
And those came with the crags and cracks.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it did. And I think these may be made by Gale Force 9 or something like that. There's a company that makes bases. Secret Weapon makes bases. But they one of my favorite things about my local nerd shop, they have a clearance rack, and so I always love hitting that. And so these were just on that, and I didn't have any necessary need for it at the time, but it's like, oh, these are pretty cool. And I need to I think I need to whiten up the skull. This skull here. It's in the middle because it's getting lost in the sauce. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Okay. So with that, let me see if we got some bone paint around here somewhere. Some bony bone paint. It's vampire skin. Let me move. I don't have a very good. Alright. Take you. It's funny, you were talking about how much you thought that Mary Jane was mean to Peter in the game, and I don't know that I mean it was, but I think that it was them fighting against. What's that? She's a player. She's a true player for real.
Yeah. She's just stringing him along for her own fame.
Well, I think the thing is that it's trying to get away from that women need to be saved sort of kind of concept.
Yeah, but she needs to be saved, so this is her big thing about needing to be saved.
Hold on, I need a moment for that. That one tickled me. It's just because she doesn't need to be saved. Well, yeah, that works, except for she needed to be saved. That's funny.
Like, how dare you save me? I don't need to be saved. Oh, wait. I would have died if you didn't save me. How dare you?
Yeah. I can take care of myself, Peter.
My favorite part is where she says something along the lines of, like, a real hero. You're not a real hero. A real hero is someone who takes recognition for their heroic work. Like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
She's like, that's where I'm. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Because you want acknowledgement. Yeah, gotcha. Thanks. That's what.
Yeah. All right, here. I'm gonna water this down just a little bit.
And then she plays with him. It's like, yeah, let's keep her. Then, like, as soon as she gets what she wanted out of the story or whatever, then she's like, oh, I don't know. I need more time to think about it.
Mary Jane.
Bitch.
Cruel heartbreaker, no love taker. Mean mistreater.
Poor Pete.
Yes.
I feel for the guy.
But I think that's
So
that's the point, right?
And the whole time that's going on, like, Jameson is squawking up and bad mouth saying all these lies. I was like, oh. And you get people on the street that are like, you suck.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But you also get people say, hey, can I get a selfie?
Yeah.
Or they take a selfie with you. That's fun. All right. Just add
Some of them are not.
Say that again.
If anything was impinging upon feminism in a way, it might be some of those interactions with the public that were they're excited to see him and stuff. Always, but it's true to life. But some people might take it. But I think that there's, but where I mean, they could easily have negated that by more of the act, I suppose. But that would cause another issue probably. where the girls will see him on the street and be like, "Oh my God, I
Oh,
can't believe it. Oh, can you tell I'm sweating? Oh, I go to hug him, and then it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. You know,
you must have interacted with those people a lot more than I did. Did you actually use your
I just
webbing? You could get places by webbing. You don't have to walk. You kept trying to get in the cab.
I just walked everywhere.
I did like that when you would do the fast teleport though, and it would show him on the subway. They would have different scenes of showing him on the subway. Those are cute.
You get the suit that's him just in his boxers with a mask on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And his boxers have little Spidey
bat, yeah. The
so
Spider-Man
doing
briefs.
that, the fast travel, he's like riding the subway in his
Ah,
boxers.
that's awesome. I don't think I ever did that. That's awesome. That is so funny. Yeah. And I really also like the suit that's the 2D suit. It was like, man, that's interesting.
Oh, yeah, the cartoon one.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Yeah. It says it's I haven't gotten that one yet. It says it's secret power or whatever. The suit power for that one is like insulting.
Yeah. Yeah. He has a snarky quip.
Yeah.
And I think it's literally, I don't think it does anything. Like, I don't think that quip stuns them or confuses them. I think he just literally says something silly.
That would be funny if they sat there for like, what?
Yeah. Your mama drinks a lot of milk. What? Huh?
They're like not sure if they just got complimented or insulted.
Yeah.
They're like, wait.
All right, so we have that. So I'll need that to dry a little bit. Let me move along here and take a look at some of our beholders. I wanted to take a look at their basings as well. Sure. If I feel like these need to be upgraded or not. I kind of think they might just be fine as is. They're nothing fancy.
Doing a larger Alan Watts phrase regarding the thing about
Fetish.
Just slow.
Yeah, these do need more. Let me see. I'll use some of that same paint that we were dry brushing with. Some of this sand, Carl. Put a little bit on, and promptly take off. All right.
What are you doing?
Doing some dry brushing on these beholder bases. I had merely just threw like a brown wash on them just to give them a little something, and they need just a little bit more definition. There's enough texture here that would be irresponsible of me not to.
Do something to the translucent base?
Did I do something to it?
Yeah.
No. It may have gotten a little fuzzy from sprays.
Oh.
But I mean, it's pretty much as is. Why? What looks wrong with it?
I'm just surprised that it seems opaque instead of
Translucent.
It has an opacity.
Yeah. 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 It is definitely more.
Oh, it's so thick that it's there. Like, there's no like, oh, it looks like he's floating. I mean, it does, but
Yeah.
normally they'll try to be pretty petite.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
And clear as possible.
Yeah, the thing is that these are so beefy that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, this was a good choice. This is giving me a lot of variation, actually. Yeah, and I had actually taken some paint thinner to them because where we had done washes and it had, in some places we actually had paint on it. So I had actually taken paint thinner to these, so they should be about, relatively clean comparatively. Yeah, sure. Compare a couple.
Wonder if the paint thinner reacted to that type of glass.
No, I'm looking at the through here
The original.
without pulling these out. I'll have to leave it in here. I have one that's unpainted here that I'm pulling out. Because Randy's has questions what need an answer. So this is what it looks like straight out of the box.
Put it on the.
Yeah, I mean. So it's, to me, it looks about the same.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's harder to do it as clear, and maybe if you can see through it, I don't know. But it would warp it, and maybe that's why. Just say, what did you say? Oh. All right. It's going to be hard to tell with the lighting. Yeah, there's definitely some more definition on the base now. So we'll continue along that way. Continue along that way. All right. Here. Do you have another game that you're targeting after this? Will you be going back to Dragon Age?
Sure yet. I've got some stuff in the Artemis.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, I have been kind of the check back in with art.
Yeah, I just started
up in the air though. Undecided.
Yep, I hear you on that. I just started playing Divinity Original Sin 2. They had a sale on the Steam. I know I have it on the PlayStation, but if I have it on Steam, I could play it on my tablet, my bed. I've been doing that more. I just got.
I was going to tell you to get Humans Fall Flat.
Oh yeah.
Because I just got it. It's on sale.
Yeah, I think.
Together, so it's like a cooperative. You help each other solve puzzles and stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think today is the last day of their mega sale of the PS4 or the PlayStation's big sale. So if there's something on, I meant to look last night and I started to fall asleep. There was this might have been somebody who hopped in earlier on our stream when we were just doing it on YouTube. We had somebody that used to hop in, and I'm not sure if this is the same person or not, so I won't say. But there's somebody on Instagram who follows the studio, and their Instagram is, it came from the Nerd Cave, actually. And they always are talking about old movies and stuff like that. And they were talking about this movie that they found on Amazon Prime called The Skull, and it has Christopher Lee in it, who is the guy that plays Saruman, and it has Peter Cushing, who would be Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars, and it has some other people. But it's an old horror movie, and it has the skull. It's based on a story called The Skull of Marquis de Sade, and it's that these people dig up the skull of Marquis de Sade, and anybody who has the skull, it causes them to do horrible stuff. Drives them nuts. But like a phrenologist pulled it up because he wanted to see, if he could learn something about, this horrible person. And yeah,
that used to be a lot of people were phrenology.
Yeah, that was one of those. That was that show that I liked, Oddities, that they had on Science Channel. about one of those weirdo shops in New York. I can't remember what the name of the shop was called, but it was always interesting, and I always enjoyed when somebody would bring in that they used a term for like quack medicine or something like that, and just these devices that would be supposed to be medically enhancing that had absolutely nothing based in anything.
Some of the medical stuff is crazy. Is that Obscura?
Obscura, yeah, I think that is the name of the shop.
Oddities.
Yeah, Oddities, I think, was the name of the show, and Obscura, I think, was the name. That sounds right, Randy. It was an interesting show. Righty. Dry brushing these bases. Yeah, I'm glad I did this. Is definitely creating a lot more depth on these.
What was the word that people use fetishing?
Partialism was the other word.
Idolism?
Partialism. Not full, but partial. Or I'm partial to a particular part of your body. I think that was the term that they used. Computer, what is partialism?
Partialism is usually defined as partiality, specifically in theology the doctrine of the partialists, or the sexual attraction to specific parts of the body.
Yeah, it's partialism.
This Wikipedia says sexual fetish or erotic fetish.
Huh.
No. Oh, wait. Martin Kafka argued that partialism should be merged.
I didn't catch anything that you said there, Randy. You were breaking up too much.
Partialism, sexual interest, exclusive focus, specific the body, other.
No, a second. If I take this Blu-ray thing off now, I should be okay.
Yep, genital.
Did you say they could all I heard you say was, yep, genitals? Yep.
Partialism is sexual interest, exclusive focus, with an exclusive focus, specific part of the body other than. So this is saying that it was specific to another part of the body other than that gives that person more sexual, more erotic attraction to that part than they do to the genital.
Mm-hmm.
Either equal to or greater than.
Interesting.
So while they break it down into the.
Break it down.
Yeah, they got the foot fetish is.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
I may need to do that. I may need to break those out in this. I could do commands and sound commands if you want those as separate. You see, I added your quote, "Yep, genitals, Randy," to our quote. So I'm still confused here, and maybe you can help us. If we can get to the bottom of this today, I will count it as a success. Is foot fetish is that a misnomer?
Okay, so that was talking about partial.
Because my question that I asked my teacher, and I was like, so by what you just told us, foot fetish wouldn't be a fetish; it'd be a partialism. He's like, I don't know, man. I just thought this was some interesting stuff to talk to you guys about. I was like, fair enough. All right, I will retract my earlier question. But I am still curious.
Sounds like the teacher that I had, one of the teachers I had in college, where it was an English course, and he was talking about how people don't know how to properly punctuate stuff. And then he was trying to go over some rules like it's this, not this, and this is why. And he totally used himself and got embarrassed and dismissed the class. It wasn't even half over.
What did he reveal? You know, like, I'm really attracted to ear holes. Man, they're damn sexy.
No.
Oh, wait a minute. I meant somebody could be attracted to. Oh.
No. That was English, so he couldn't figure out what the punctuation rule that
he couldn't remember I before E except after C.
Yeah.
Right.
He was trying to give an example of something, and it's like, wait, that doesn't you're dismissed.
If only it were that easy. All right. So we've got that. So I think now it's time for flowers. Blue flowers. Okay.
Which is sad. I felt bad for it, but sometimes it's like, well, shit. You guys are taking my money, claiming to be like you're supposed to be teaching. We get docked for if we skip class, throwing us out of the class.
It is funny because it's like, your teachers, they can call off as, and you're like, oh, okay, well, what happens if you do this every week?
I had an art that was like that. She would call off when she was sick or whatever, but it would be bitch. Good.
Really? She'd be bitchy if anybody else was like out?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like, well, there's not because she doesn't be bothered to show up. Yeah, I was here the 3 times last week when you called off.
Nice.
I couldn't help it this time. Dumb people.
That last time when I went back and finally got my degree ready, I remember there was a class that one of my classes, doesn't matter which one, and I had a bunch of exams that were going to fall on the same day, and I was like, I went to this teacher, I was like, I never thought I would ask this, but can I take the exam early? Because it's just going to be really hard otherwise.
What'd they say?
She's like, yeah, absolutely. That was a class where it was only like 20 people, and she told me at the end, she's like, you could have taught this class. And she was like, no, really, you could have taught this class. I was like, well, I said I didn't know any of this stuff beforehand. It was just, I just actually read the stuff we were supposed to read and engaged in conversation about it. I remember when I went to, after I dropped out of college the first time, I went back to like a tech school, and I was taking a class on programming COBOL, and I was getting reimbursed through work, and so it was important for me to get good grades. So I was like, I'm going to do everything I can because this is expensive, right? And I remember, I'm reading this stuff. I'm reading all the material beforehand, and people would be asking questions in class about like stupid questions. I'm like, I was in the reading material, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I used to be you. Oh, that's the way I felt. Oh, okay. Never mind. Sorry. Sorry, old me.
Okay, you ready for the definitive on fetish partialism?
Yeah, give it to me.
So it's a little confusing because fetish does have multiple. So basically, you're talking about sexual fetishism and partial. So partialism is sexual interest with the exclusive focus on a specific part of the body other than the genital, and it has an equal or greater erotic attraction for that as the equally attracted to like your foot as they are to genitals, or they're more attracted to. So sexual fetishism or erotic fetishism is a sexual fixation on a non-living object or non-genital part of the body.
Or non-genital part of the body. Okay, so it would still apply.
Yeah. So the object that is called the fetish. Person
Okay.
who has a fetish for that object, fetish. A sexual fetish regarded as a non-pathological aid to excitement, or as a disorder if it causes psychological distress for the person.
What causes this distress? Hold on, sorry, you were breaking up a little bit. What causes distress?
A sexual fetish may be regarded as a non-pathological aid to sexual excitement, or as a mental disorder if it causes significant psychological distress for the person, or has detrimental effects on important areas of their life.
Right.
Sexual arousal from a particular body part can be further classified as partial. So that's like sexual arousal from a particular body part are classified.
So it seems that if I can break down what you were saying, so partialism is a more specific term. So partialism as being excited by a part of the body other than genitals, whereas fetish is a little bit more inclusive. And see that what I had thought fetish was that first thing that you had talked about, where it was like being attracted to a non-human, thing. So like a shoe fetish. You could have a shoe fetish. Or somebody who was like sexually turned on by cars. I remember seeing that like on Real Sex 101 20 years ago. The person who was just turned on by cars or something.
The sexual fixation on a non-living object, but it also says
a non-living object
of the body, a non-living object, or a non-genital part of the body,
or a non. So bestialism is not a fetish.
That's just classified totally different.
Right. But that's what I mean. It seems like they're very being specific, because if you're attracted to something that's living, but not human, then that would not be a fetish. Would you agree? Based on your
Reddit, if that's not their intent. It goes. I mean, this is just the opening line of it, so it has a whole wiki article. That's a lot more.
Well, do your own fact finding, but that seems like I feel like you've enlightened me, Randy. So that's good. All right, let me pull out some of these.
And then fetish. So it gets confused, I think, in part the fetish things. So fetish, the first definition for that on Merriam-Webster, an object such as a small stone carving or an animal believed to have magical power or protect or aid it. So broadly, material object regarded with or extravagant trust or reverence. B, the second part of the first definition, an object of irrational reverence or obsessive devotion. And then C, an object or bodily part, real or sized present, is psychologically necessary for gratification. And that is an object of fixation that it may. And then 2, fixation, right, cult, fetish.
Randy, can you do a favor and post the link that you're looking at? I don't know if you should be able to, I think. Thank you.
I'm going to pull that up myself and take a quick eyeball at that. Let's see here. An object.
So, does
Yeah. So where it's
answer
talking
some
about,
questions.
so when this is what we were talking about earlier when we were talking about fetishes. I was talking about like a religious fetish, or that.
Yeah, like
Okay.
the little icons, the little bears, carved stone bear that's on a Native American or whatever. That's referred to as a fetish.
I think a voodoo doll might be referred to as a fetish, right? Computer, is a voodoo doll considered a fetish?
Here's something I found on the web.
Although,
According to brown.edu, the voodoo doll is a gree-gree, but can be used as a religious object or a superstitious one depending on how the user treats it.
I think they said Gregory. I haven't heard in a while. All right, where did I put the flocking?
so it sounds more like something like a talisman. Like if they had an eagle claw
Mm-hmm.
and they on a necklace because they believe that gave. Or if they protect it. Or represented their god, that showing their devotion or protecting.
So I posted that part C. Posted part C there. So I love that it's real or imagined, right? So if I had to imagine that somebody was stimulating my fake superfluous nipple, also known as the triple nipple.
And I see this a lot too. Like we throw around a lot of psychological. I mean, us as society, we easily throw these terms around, but actually in psychology, they mean something much more precise.
Yes, I hear you on that. Yep.
So
Yeah.
typically this is something to a point that it becomes a problem. Like it's not a problem normally for most people. They may have some level of this, but it's not an issue. When it becomes an issue,
Yeah, impairment.
That's when it's this thing.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting because it would always talk about that, like whenever something had to do with the diagnosis of it, it was always that, yeah, it had to be at a point to where it was causing significant impairment or impact or distress or something. So it was like, if you had a drug problem, you didn't have a drug problem unless the drugs were causing a problem. Okay. You weren't an alcoholic unless it was causing impairment.
Yeah.
Your anxiety isn't, unless it's causing
alcoholic.
Impairment. Worry
You're an
isn't a problem unless it's causing impairment.
Yes. It's like the OCD. If you have OCD, like a lot of people are on the OCD spectrum, but it's not a problem. Like it doesn't negatively impact their life to a degree that it's a problem.
Yes. Yeah. Then the negative impact is the key to all of that. That's out. Pull out some pliers. Alrighty here. So on our heroes, I want to add some flowers.
So I don't know. Something along the lines of machalagnia is armpit fetish.
By men. Sorry. Or by women. That could be.
People have a nose fetish? How do you have a nose fetish? I mean, hey, if that's your thing, then I'm not judging. I just don't understand.
Well, this is the thing, right? And is the origins of fetishes, right? And the thing is, it's like, man, what is wrong with you? But by the grace of God, right? I mean, it's almost like you think about imprinting, right? The way that they used to do it in the back in like the cartoon days. Remember, like the chicken would be born and it would go mama, or the bird would go mama, and whoever it saw now was the mama.
Yeah.
And so imprinting. So there is moments in your life that you are primed to be imprinted upon stuff.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff too. Like, think about it, but potentially has a lot to do with potentially socioeconomic situations, like what your cultural bias is toward those things.
Oh yeah, sir.
Somebody grew up in a culture that worshipped, or not worshipped, but had, for whatever reason, high regard for that item, and that it was even sexualized in that culture. Some legend of their god. So those sort of things add to it and cause a division between societies where one doesn't understand, finds it odd or wrong even, that the other people believe a certain way.
Yeah. I mean, once you started getting access to other countries' porn, it is enlightening of that there are cultural differences. Especially amongst Eastern and Western. But
so they used to talk about, and if this is like some culturally sensitive stereotype, I apologize, but pretty sure this was a documentary I watched years ago, and it was talking about how I think it was mainly a warning to Eastern women who were either traveling or moving to Asian countries, where they had to be worried about, like, on buses, public transport, it's packed, who will get rubbed up.
Yeah. Yeah. I have.
And you expect it. That's the way that. I don't know if it's true, but that was presented in, I believe it was some documentary. But that's like.
You'll see Japanese subways. That's typically when I've seen portrayals of that thing. Yeah, that it has to do with Japanese on a commuter train. And I'm thinking too, I could be wrong about this. The word frottage, frottage, I think that might be that.
Careful.
Yeah.
I think it's just called dry hump. Well, it depends.
You win.
It's an art, a technique or process of taking a rubbing from an uneven surface to form the basis of a work for art. A work of art produced by taking a rubbing from an uneven surface. Or,
and I'm pasting these as well. So there's the first one.
The practice of touching or rubbing the clothed body of another person, the crowd, as a means of obtaining sexual.
This Merriam-Webster is a little more generic, it looks like, in its definition of it. It says, too, is the act of obtaining sexual stimulation by rubbing against a person or object.
Yeah, because I've seen it. Maybe it wasn't intended, had to be through clothing. But now it doesn't clothe.
Yeah, because frottage, that's what the movie Bed Knobs and Broomsticks is about, right?
Oh, Jesus.
No? I've never seen it. I don't know.
You've never seen Bed Knobs and Broomsticks?
Uh-uh.
I'm sure there is a version of it. That,
Yes. If the internet has taught us anything, is that, yes, Rule 69 or Rule whatever, 34.
although they do
Rule
a lot of
43.
tapping of knobs, but it's not the same. What is the cat's name? Cosmic creeper.
I can remember in health class when they were talking to us about sexual transmitted diseases. And I had a conversation with my father about that. And, this is already probably going to be decent. So, and I remember them, and it was like, oh, they were talking about things that, like myths. And he was like, oh yeah, what's some of the myths? And he's like, well, that you can't get a sexually transmitted disease from a doorknob. And he explained to me how you could. And I will leave it at that. Oh, it explains so much when I think about these things.
Rotter the rub. All right. I love this part of art. So if you do a grave rubbing, people do grave rubbings.
Is that necrophilia?
Is that fraudage?
It's necrofraudage. You like that, Randy? Isn't it a good term?
Say it again.
Necrofraudage.
Geez.
Well, the good thing about Tombstone is it's always rock hard. All right. Here. Yeah, hey, I'll take him every single time. Always a good time for a bad pun in the studio, Johnny Q. All right, we got our poking tool, what made for poking, and let's see if they can. Well, what are you clogged with? If you're going to be that hard to work with, I'm not going to use you. All right.
So this quote from Alan Watts that has the part that you earlier. It's pretty long.
I was listening to a video clip and he had mentioned it, and I didn't get through the entire video clip, but
post the Tumblr.
And I was just like, I just kept trying to say it to myself. It's like, oh, I want to remember that. I want to remember bringing it up on the stream. Oh, cool. Thanks.
And you will find in everyday life that there is a very clear distinction between people who always seem to be self-possessed,
yes,
who are dithering and nervous and
yes,
don't quite know how to react in a negative situation, bear it, because they have their lives too strongly programmed. This is a common marriage argument. You said you would do such and such a thing at such and such a time, and now you've changed. It's not that the change of play caused convenience. It's just the feeling that when you say you will do something at a certain time, you ought to do it at that time, come hell or high water.
Hell or high water.
Yeah. Well, that's being very unadaptable. That's being a stone, a sticky thing. If it after all doesn't matter when we do it and somebody is offended because the time has been changed, that's simply because they are attached to punctuality as a fetish. This is one of the great problems. This causes automobile accidents, men rushing home to be on time for dinner when they stayed either working or they had to stop for a drink at some bar.
Had to.
Yeah, is. Or when the girl feels like she has a fussy husband and feels she has to have the dinner ready at exactly the certain moment, she ruins the cooking. She'd rather be a faithful wife and a bad cook. I hope I'm not on any toes.
Yes.
And it's written.
What's that? It was probably in the 60s. Yeah, because in that same thing, before he talks about that, he talks about that Zen teachers that, like, what they do with their students is they just keep trying to give them they keep trying to mess them up and give them questions that you can't answer and get in the way of them to try to help kind of like deprogram them. And he says it's basically the equivalent of like when you're going down a street and you step to the left and the other person steps to the left and you step to the right and they step to the right and you can't pass each other. He says that's what the Zen teacher is trying to get you to do. And it's to try to get you to stop thinking the way that you think and to stop being so structured and formal and more adaptive. I never thought of that's what Zen teachers would do, but so it was interesting.
I saw one of his quotes was something along the lines of talking about how somebody was talking about people who talk about Zen, like, oh, you can't, if you talk about it, then you don't have it.
Yeah.
But that himself was kind of talking about it, and the person who taught and teaching in the first place, like the first book on it, talked about it. So it's like, oh, we just can't help ourselves. We have to talk.
Let me dip this in there. So I've cut some of these flowers off, give them a healthy dose of glue. Push them down in here. And we'll see how this turns out. Interesting.
After moving to the United States in 1938, born outside of, there was a nearby Buddhist lodge at a young age. The United States in 1938 became an Episcopal priest for a time. Relocated to Brooklyn, where he wrote his pivotal book, The Wisdom of Insight, a message for anxiety. In 1951, he moved to San Francisco, studied physics, popular radio show way beyond the West. By the early 60s, radio talks were national. He counterculture adopted spokes. He wrote and traveled regularly until his passing in the 1970s.
He passed in the 70s?
Yeah, 1970.
Yeah, and then I saw that he would refer to himself as a spiritual entertainer, which I kind of appreciated.
He would refer to himself as what?
A spiritual entertainer.
Hmm.
And I appreciated that he said that more than I'm not a disseminator of truth, or although he does very much say that, but or implies it. But I don't know, just it to me there's a certain realism in acknowledging that that you're a spiritual entertainer.
Well, I think it kind of cuts to a lot of other tears, like, don't take this too serious.
Yeah,
that's the problem, that you take it too seriously.
Yeah, agreed.
I like the thought exercise, if you will, of people are so ingrained. Hey, Carrie. Sorry, I just saw your comment on YouTube.
Oh, hey.
How long ago did you make the comment? Oh, about 20. Sorry. At some point she said, you mean you were being Hermione? But I don't know what it was in reference.
I'm having a hard time here. I can't show it very well. We'll take a look at these once I get them all fixed.
Oh, yeah. So Alan Watts. Oh, okay. So if you were born, like you were raised a certain religion, and you were taught that, that religion is the religion, everybody else is wrong and backward,
which is
the hell, because you believe the right thing, whatever.
Which is probably like 90%
the else, you would have been religion. So what, are you favored by God and that you were born specifics? And a lot of people believe that, yes, that's the
yes.
Get over yours.
Yeah. Well, the great argument.
It doesn't matter, because if you were born in this other place, you would believe in entirely.
Yeah. Well, but then the Bible says that that all will have an opportunity to have heard the word and to been able to blah 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 blah. So people,
Yeah, it's got
they
lots of
address
ways
that. Yeah,
that also, lots of ways that it contradicts itself, but you ignore those parts.
Lisa, the Bible says a lot of things. No truer
I
words
love
were
that
ever
it can
said.
be made to say pretty much people use that to their advantage.
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, especially because of the differences between the Old Testament and the New Testament, you could pretty much make the Bible say whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh, which part are you? I'm sorry, you said you were a Christian, but you're totally talking about the Old Testament, so kind of negating there, aren't you?
But hey, you know what? I think that religions are like sports teams, that they serve functions, but the only real value is for the people that believe in them.
Yeah.
And so, I'm
And
not.
like, I don't have a problem with it as long as you don't push it upon everybody else and think less of somebody else because they believe differently.
Yeah.
And like, if that does something for you, that's great.
Yeah.
Don't take it extreme.
Yeah, and
Don't use it as a negative tool.
Yeah. Don't use religion as a
it
weapon. That's where I
Yeah.
have a problem is, when people use it to hurt
Exactly.
people, they use it as a weapon, they use it to separate. And that's the thing that was my experience was that it's like
Well, later.
it's like you listen, you look at all the different types of Christianity, all the different I call them strains, all the strains of Christianity, and those things are meant to separate, not to unify.
Yeah.
And for any religion, for religion such as Christianity, to be so firm and wanting to separate itself from other people who claim to be Christians is confusing to me, to say the least. It seems counterintuitive, I guess.
Pronounce that hello, but I'm always working on how I say things and I might not have it right.
Thanks for that. Computer, mind your own.
Yeah, it's well said, Tater.
Computer,
Indeed.
don't start none, won't be none. All right, which is why the Bible is my favorite tool to call the masses. Yes, especially nowadays, TV preachers are wanting people to ignore the virus.
Yeah, it's God's work, isn't it? That's the divine plan. He's going to call the masses and get rid of all the.
I heard that, they have, and we won't mention names, but there's some of these churches are like really, really huge, right? I mean, really huge, like dozens of thousands of people that attend them on a given day. And that some of these churches are not refusing, but I guess churches are not under, like here in Ohio, are not under the state mandate things for, non-essential work and not gathering in places where there's more than, so many people.
Yeah.
Because of religion, the separation of religion and state and all the problems that causes. So yeah, one of these churches is like still, it's like they have, maybe 20,000 people on a Sunday and 10,000 people on a Sunday.
Yeah.
They're gonna was arrested for still. Yeah. Wow.
And that's the thing. Again, you may not believe that you're going to get it. That's fine. Like, you do what you do. The problem is, it's not about you. It's about who you're going to pass it to if you do get it.
Yeah. It's not about you. It's about, and the thing is too is there's a scripture that says that as you have done to the least of these, so you have done to me. So I don't know why people of that religious faith wouldn't be all about that, but another funny thing, one of the statements that you were saying, Randy, about like where you're born determines so much of your religion. And the funny thing is you'll hear atheists talk about this, and they'll say that atheists have more in common with somebody of a religious faith than not, because say me and a Christian, we don't believe in all the same gods, except for you believe in one God more than I do. You don't believe in Zeus. You don't believe in Odin. You don't believe in the Hindu gods. You don't believe in, this. You don't believe in that. But, you believe in one. That's the only difference. You don't believe in all the same gods I don't believe in, except for one.
Yeah, they're not going to see that.
Except for one.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Oh, it does.
No. It depends. All of this obviously depends upon the.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Everybody's different. Everybody's got different levels of whatever.
I know some very, very most people I think who I think are in these things are in them for the right reasons. I think it's people searching for answers, and people trying to have faith in things, and most of the people that I met were good people that I think meant well, and I don't fault them for that at all. And I think that they're people that are struggling with bigger questions, and I don't have a problem with that either. I think that's also noble. The only problem I think I have is that when we start to accept answers from people on questions that nobody has actual answers to, all they have is beliefs. And so when belief structures start becoming knowledge, I don't believe this, but I know this.
Yeah.
That's what allows people to start
This
flying vehicles into buildings and blowing them up.
Yeah, Peter, maybe somebody should, I don't condone this, but maybe somebody should tweet out his address so I'll go and get cured.
Was this preacher's name Joe Exotic? Let's see here. Oh, man.
Damn it, another one.
I was really counting on the flat earthers. And the thing is too is that you start learning about science and it leaves the possibility for all kinds of craziness. So I don't believe that science negates the possibility of a God.
Sorry, I was laughing at.
Oh yeah,
What?
no doubt. That is funny. I just saw the comment. I don't know. Let me see here. I need to. Tom Morello came out with a signature strat. Huh. Let me see here.
What?
Nothing. Total non-relevant, non sequitur. It came up on my watch.
Gotcha.
It's like my watch. When you flick it, it will come on, or when the messages come in.
Huh. Really? Raising.
Fraudage. It gets turned on if you rub it. But who doesn't? I mean, really. Who doesn't need a little fraudage? The cottage of fraudage. And other tales of ribaldry. Oh.
Nice. That was... hold on.
All right. Let's see here. And again, thanks for everybody who's watching. I'm monitoring the Twitch chat, and Randy is trying to monitor the YouTube chat. So apologies for anybody from the YouTube chat who isn't getting the appropriate amount of love. We regret that. And feel free, we do tend to, we stream daily on Twitch, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays we also stream to YouTube for this Addition Through Distraction stream. So if you're following us on the YouTube, be sure to check us out on the Twitch. Thanks for posting that, Randy. The Tales of Ribaldry. I'm assuming that's what that is. All right, so let me. All righty. I'm going to open up this book, The Buttress of Windsor. dip my toes in the jacuzzi, baby.
You're gonna have to add command.
Which one?
From the tail.
You're breaking up. I'm not understanding what you're saying.
There's got to be some good quotes you can add as commands.
Yeah, something or a sound file.
Yeah. So I'm laughing. I can't remember how
Tales of Ribaldry. Maybe if I just get Tales of Ribaldry, or we'll create. I'll do we'll do our own.
Ugh, more coffee.
All right, here. All right. And so those, let's see if we can eyeball the handiwork that we've done here with the flower power. Oh.
Power.
Let's see here. There you go. I mean, you won't see all that white on the bottom of the base once the glue dries, obviously, but... No, we have not done the watching movie thing that we talked about yet. I am definitely interested in doing that. I have to find out with my D&D group if we're going to do a remote session this week or not, and if not, this might be the week that we do it. Are there any days that are better for you? Let's see here. Yeah, you know, the thing is with Twitch, from what I've been looking into, is that where YouTube is like automatic, like if you have music in your stream, then it automatically comes up as like a copyright claim. Yeah, good point. But with Twitch, it's like they tell you, it's like you can't stream people's stuff, but basically all that they do is they just mute your VODs, video on demands. So the tape recordings of anything where I'm playing albums and stuff should be muted in theory. Is that no time? Now? You say now time is after 8. Is that any time? I'm going to need you to... I can't decipher. All right, we got that. We've got our... Yeah, which is acceptable. I mean, I'm fine with... Yeah. Yep. Noted. You get a pretty good feel for our flocking. There. Our wizard. And
Nice little flowers on
yep.
the ground.
Yep. So on our heroes, I'll let them have some flowers on there.
Take one off and put it in his beard.
Flower child. All right, so we've got.
I like to be fancy when I'm fighting.
Yeah. Reminds me of our friend Dwayne, that picture that he had with all the flowers in his beard. You remember that? There's one where Aaron's put all the flowers, like all the white daisies in his beard. Let's see here. I may end up hitting these with a wash again. I probably will. So maybe I'll do that now.
I came across some YouTube videos where they were Twitch streamers that were controlled by their text speech donate messages.
Mm-hmm.
So people would donate like $1, but it would have some like really long speech to text or
Yes.
text to speech message
Yeah.
accompanying it, and it'd be totally trolling them or just really funny.
Yeah.
Some of them were like, oh, they got pissed off and ended the stream, but others would just lose themselves laughing about it.
Yeah, because especially because some of that stuff, it's like when you're listening to the GPS and it says the street that you're on, and it's not the way that you've ever heard that street name pronounced.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and then people are trying to. The stream I used to watch a lot was Frimley, and Fred and Emily. They're a married couple. They stream. I think they're in London, and they had that set up that way, and so it was like a woman's voice, and it would be. I'm trying to think of. This is so that you can have your own Merkin installed or something like that. And yeah, that was always funny.
The speech sizes have come so far that now a lot of them like trouble from a person talking.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, this one it still had that old school Windows 95 speak and spell sort of effect. Yeah. So some streamers have a minimum limit of donations that do the speak to text, so you have to. But I think with Fred and Emily, there's Frimley's that they had it with the qubits. They had if you donated so many qubits or something, I think that qubits was they had tied to the text to speech thing, or not qubits but bits, the Twitch bits. All right, let me get a little bit of brown wash here. Just play it in a couple places. Let's see, some black wash, flesh wash, sepia. Take a look at some of this homemade wash that we've done. All right. Thanks again for everybody who's joined in on today's stream. We sure do appreciate your time and your attention. And that's for our Twitch viewers and our YouTube viewers. Sure do appreciate you guys. I'm going to thin this down, I think, significantly. I'm going to need a long floppy brush for this. Here we go. And just hit some of these places. Trying to keep it from pooling, but
probably will be eliminated if we can. It's one of those. All right, so let me pull out the other two beholders that we have.
Jamie, before you move the camera, aiming over a shelf, you have the Star Trek badge.
Yeah. This one.
It's not on camera. Yeah, that one.
What about it?
Fix the orientation. No, put it back the right way. Oh, that's wrong. That's not wrong.
Order is your fetish, Randy. Always good when we can.
Thank you, sir.
Revisit the titular. Yeah, no problem, brother. No problem. Actually, I thought we were going to be working on the eyes, but we didn't get to them. Let me see. Where's our other two? Oh, here and here.
That brush that you're using. Got. Which one is that?
I don't know if I have these in my recommended gear or not. I believe I do.
I was going to ask.
These are the Artisan Shop Minute Series 12. And what I really like is I have a whole glass of these. And I'll take a look. Let me see if I actually do have these on my recommended gear. Pull it
Supposed to give you a more comfortable grip and more control.
Yeah, I like the shape of the brush. They do fit well. I like the quality of the bristles for the cost. They hold points well, and you get a whole selection. So compared to, like, I've bought some from, say, Michael's or something like that are, kind of like, like this, or maybe these ones that have the handles. But this one has got such a nice range of specialty brushes, and like some of these where I didn't necessarily think, I wouldn't necessarily just buy that brush just straight up, like this one that I'm using right now. And some of these really long ones, they're great for line work and for getting into some places. And so yeah, it's a real good mix of set, especially when you're just starting out, because I really like using some nice brushes. I have some Windsor Sables in here, maybe they're $10-$12 or something like that a piece.
Bulkier grip like that can also help people who have arthritis.
Yeah, another nice thing about these is they have triangle. They're triangular base, so they won't roll. They won't roll on a table.
Oh, that's nice too.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the our gear. Let's see. No, I don't think I've got the makeup set. I don't think I have that. I'm gonna have to add that. I'm gonna make a note now, because I was thinking about that. I've just started using these here recently, and I've really come to enjoy them. They're a really great starter set. I think that might have been the set that Black Magic Craft recommended. I'm pretty certain I got it from Amazon. Add brushes to Reco gear. And then maybe I might even make that our new highlighted item. All right. Good. All right. But yeah, thanks for asking that question, Randy. I appreciate it.
I was watching a YouTube video last night. It was talking about Star Trek and a lot of the things that we associate with it that are actually incorrect.
Okay.
So like people saying,
Beam me
like,
up, Scotty.
beam me up, Scotty. Yeah. Like he never said that exactly. And the closest that he was saying Scotty beat me up once.
That's just because you failed to embrace the Mandela effect, Randy.
There you go. Let's see what. Oh, that if you wear a red shirt, you're going to die. They were saying that statistically speaking, which it didn't make any sense what they said, because it sounded like they were saying that 50% of the ship
Died.
was a red shirt, but maybe I missed it and they were.
Well, I will take umbrage with that, because the red shirt thing is if you're in a away party. That's what it.
Yeah.
If you're going down, and the comedian's joke who brought this up, I think maybe one of the first people who said it. It says if it's Spock, Kirk, and Ensign Horowitz, you know who's dying. And you know what color shirt that Ensign Horowitz is wearing. So that's kind of the.
Yeah. I think they did. I think that's where they were going with it, was they weren't taking into account that it's probably really talking about. They did make some. They said especially if you're on a away mission. But
yeah,
I don't know if I agreed with their
sure
way that they were getting their statistics. Crewman per se.
That's right.
Oh,
there's a book called Red Shirt that I think is supposed to be from the perspective of a red shirt. And it's supposed to be really funny. I've been meaning to check that out sometime. Sorry, go ahead, Randy. Do you even Star Trek, bro?
Oh yeah. So, what color shirt? Katie,
what color shirt? What
does Kirk wear?
I thought Kirk was yellow.
Yeah, apparently that's a misconception. It's actually green. It's easier to see that in when he wears some of his other types of shirts. They were talking about how it was some kind of visual anomaly with how the.
Yeah, I've noticed. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, because the way that the camera would pick it up, especially at those periods of time. Yeah, I can see what you're saying about that.
Nice.
If we do movie night, my vote is Galaxy Quest, because we talk about Star Trek so much, or First Contact, because I think that is the best Star Trek movie,
closely followed by Wrath of Khan. I think those are strong points. I'm actually a big fan of the reboots as well. The first one and the second one.
I thought you meant Contact.
What'd you say, Randy?
He said First Contact. I thought he meant Contact.
Oh, Contact with Jodie.
Yeah.
Jodie Foster.
All
right. Yeah, let's add a little bit more. And I think. Yeah. And then once these dry, I'll dry brush them again. But this will help give us a little bit of depth in there. That's Yeah, I thought they did a good job with the reboots. The third one was, so-so, but I think, like Randy said, is that I enjoy being in that world so much that it was fine. At least that was my assessment of it. I enjoy those people's. The
people
third
who complained about the reboots.
No, the third Star Trek. I think that we were saying that, we enjoy just those actors getting together and portraying those roles so much that we can be happy with a slightly inferior product. I think I'm paraphrasing, but I know you never settle for anything less than perfection. But
my thing was, like, a lot of people were just bitching about all the differences and stuff like that.
Oh,
it wasn't that.
Yeah,
it was different. Blah blah blah. And I was like, it's a Star Trek movie. It's awesome, like, because it's a Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
There's so much nostalgia and reverence built around it. Just to be able to take part in it, regardless, some subtle difference. or whatever. It was still a good time.
Yeah, and if you don't like the Star Trek reboot, then watch the first Star Trek movie, and then I pretend I said something really, really, really mean to you right now, because that movie's horrible. It's damn near unwatchable. I watched it. You and me watched it, right? We watched that movie together, I think. Yeah.
Oh, the first.
Yeah, I think you and I watched the Star Trek movie. That's the one with Vidger or whatever.
Yeah, I think we probably did.
Vidger.
We ended up falling asleep so much that when we were trying to watch movies that completely.
So we would be bitching about it. Yeah.
Watch the movie.
I'm sorry. Oh, what did you say, Rady? You broke up.
I said it's been a long time since we actually watched the movie together, but we were starting to get where we kept falling asleep during either one or both of us would fall asleep during the movies.
Yeah, that's the truth. That is the straight truth. Although I find falling asleep watching like a movie or TV, I find it just to be a very comforting slumber. It's a very comforting nap for me. Especially given depending on what the movies are. Okay, so I think that we got this.
Yeah, no doubt, dude. Somebody's always got to be bitching about something.
Yeah, that's I was laughing about. The cancer was cured tomorrow. Somebody would be bitching about it. That's just not the truth. Or it's like the people, you'd win a lottery and you'd complain about the taxes you had to pay on it. All right. So, given this is not optimal.
Yeah, I think they did a good job at the cast.
Yeah, that is a good point. And it still breaks my heart that Anton is no longer with us from a very stupid accident. I mean, stupid as in senseless, not in somebody did something stupid. But
I didn't realize he ton of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah, he was emerging. I didn't realize he was in that. There's a movie, Charlie Bartlett. He was in that he starred in, where it's like, high school kid, cooler than everybody else, but not cooler than everybody else. He was in that. What was the one that we watched where he could see dead people? This is where you tell me he wasn't in. He wasn't in. He wasn't in that movie with Bruce Willis.
Sixth Sense.
Right, said Fred. No, that was Drop Dead. Somebody. He was in The Small Town. And
he was actually born. Correct. Announced.
I'm not catching any of the words that you're saying.
He was actually born in Leningrad, Russia, SFSR, USSR, now St. Petersburg.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the poor guy got crushed by a car. I think it was my understanding was I think he was like trying to like go to a gate or something, and his car rolled and it pinned him and crushed him to death. And it's
You cut out.
It was that he got crushed by his own car, was my understanding. That he got out of his car, I think, to like open a gate or something, and that the car rolled and ended up pinning him and crushing him to death. It's just really tragic. It's sad. But yeah, because I don't think he's in the third movie, right? I think he died in between the second and the third movie. But what was that movie? I keep thinking, Randy. You told me to watch it. We watched it during like Halloween.
Hold on, but I got sidetracks.
Yeah, I'm gonna IMDb it.
Wow. He's got 69 acting.
Wow.
He did the Troll Hunters, the voice and character boy. Troll Hunter.
Oh, was that the one that was based on Guillermo del Toro? I think. I think that might be a Guillermo del Toro animated thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I started watching it. It just was a little too slow and a little too kiddie for me.
I watched quite a bit of it, and then I think I got caught up or something. On time, never got back to it. And I think part of it. Dark.
Posting Anton's IMDb page. All right. 16.
Bearing the X. I saw it. It was on my list. I think they probably took. Smurfs too. He was the voice of Clumsy Smurf.
Oh, he was in Star Trek. Okay, so he did. I think he may have been actually dead when it was released, though.
Odd Thomas.
Odd Thomas, that was it. Thank you. Well, he was also Dr. Jack Stewart in a short called Kiss Kiss Finger Bang. True story.
Bang bang.
Bang bang bang. Alrighty. Well, I think on that note, Randy, I think this is where we're going to call a wrap to today's journey.
Terminator Salvation.
Say that again.
Charlie Bartlett. Terminator Salvation.
Okay. I didn't realize he was in that.
Charlie Bartlett.
Yeah, Odd Thomas. Yeah, me and Randy did watch it. I did enjoy that. Yeah, I enjoyed the Odd Thomas. And the Charlie Bartlett wasn't bad either.
Apparently there was a series called Huff. TV series called Huff.
And he had some appearances in that.
26.
Wow. Yeah. Then that would be yes. I own Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and haven't seen it, but he was in a short called Kiss Kiss Finger Bang, which must be a play on Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I do have that and need to watch that. But with that, remind everybody we will be streaming again on Twitch tomorrow. So if you're one of our YouTubers, please feel free to watch us there. And if you're one of our Twitchers, churn in. If you are not following us, please do so. And turn on those notifications so that you can know when we're getting together and having some chats. Oh, and also, have a good one, Tater. And look for me. I'm going to send you an invite to our Discord server as well. So look for that. And with that, we will bid everybody adieu. Randy, do you have any parting words for our good folks?
Love yourselves, love one another, open mind.
Yes, and don't treat punctuality as a fetish. Treat it as partialism. Just kidding. You treat it however you want. And we leave you guys with the doctor's promise: never cowardly, never cruel, never give up, never give in, and as JC says, never surrender. All right, be good, guys. Stay healthy during the zombie apocalypse, and we'll see you soon.
Love y'all. Be safe.
And streaming.